I would point out that in the overview of the FDA report, and I'll quote, on the basis of results from recent studies using novel approaches to test for subliminal effects, both the National Toxicology Program at the National Institute of Health and FDA have some concerns about potential effects of BPA on the brain, behavior, prostate gland, fetus, infants, and young children. In the interim, the FDA is taking reasonable steps to replace human exposure to BPA in the food supplies.
I'm Dan Saltzman, a member of the Portland City Council, and I'd like to voice the city's support and indeed Multnomah County's support for Senate Bill 695. But we do think this is a very fundamental public health issue that affects the health of our infants and children, and therefore we think BPA should particularly be banned from children and infant products.
Last fall, when I was pregnant and wanted to make a playroom for my daughter in our house, I chose some paint for the walls and picked chalkboard paint so she'd have a chance to draw all over the place while we spent an Oregon winter home with the newborn. And the feeling of walking into a paint store or hardware store and knowing that not one brand, not one type contains the lead that could poison her bloodstream or the baby that we hadn't even met yet is an incredible feeling of safety. There's no wrong choice there, and that feeling is not on the baby aisle at the grocery store or the drugstore.
The reason why we feel that it's so important that Oregon takes a step forward for this is, number one, a lot of the policies that our state's passed is looked at nationally as a good benchmark, and there hasn't been a lot of traction on BPA in this country so far, and so what we're seeing are a lot of competing definitions pop up. The problem that we have and the concern that is out there is you're going to have a significant number of manufacturers who possibly through no fault of their own may feel like they're in compliance with the Oregon law because they comply with, say, the Kentucky law, which obviously is different.
There are people who will tell you that the market will solve this problem. Parents will learn about the harmful effects of BPA, as I have done, and will stop buying things made with it. I'd like to tell those people that I have spent during my 6 years as a parent so far more hours than I care to count researching every single product that comes into my home. Hours I could have spent working or, more importantly, being with my children. You can bet there are children across the state whose parents are unwittingly exposing them to BPA right now because they do not know about its harmful effects or because they find it impossible to understand information that is written for toxicologists or, as we heard, chemical analysts, and not for the rest of us.
I would like to beg you guys to please help me remove these chemicals from my kids' products, from everybody's. I don't think it's right that they are not labeled. I think that being an American citizen, I should be allowed the right to choose what I put in my children's bodies.